Sides of the story. I'm Gaurav Sawant. As always, we get started with the headlines. India Today gets you an exclusive scoop on the Sri Ram temple at Ayodhya. The idol of Ram Lala will be installed in the Sanctum Sanctorum on Makar Sankranti in 2024. Showdown over Congress party tweets showing RSS shots on fire. BJP hits back, says the Congress will be reduced to ashes. Ministry of Home Affairs likely to order a CBI probe in the murder of Sonali Fogart. This after both Goa and Haryana governments make the recommendation. Economic Offences Wing of the Delhi Police issues a second summon to Jacqueline Fernandez. The actor skipped summons today in connection with the 200 crore rupee Sukesh Chandrasekhar con scandal. India's squad of 15 players for upcoming T20 World Cup announced. Jasprit Bumrah returns after an injury. Shami, Shreyas, Ravi Bishnoi and Deepak Chahar named as standby players. It is being hailed as a big victory for the Hindu side. In the Gyanvapi Mosque Kashi Vishwanath Temple case, the Hindu party's petition has been upheld by the Varanasi District Court. This means that hearing will now begin on merits of the case from the 22nd of September. The court will decide whether there is a shivling in the Gyanvapi Mosque Wazukhana or is that actually a fountain as the Muslim side claims. We get you the day's top story.
Big win for the Hindu side in Gyanvapi case. Jubilant scenes and Har Har Mahadev chants broke out in the Varanasi District Court premises. Soon after, the court upheld the maintainability of a plea by the Hindu side for daily worship of deities on outer wall of the Gyanvapi Mosque.
हिंदू पक्ष में आया है, हम सबको खुशी है। आज काशी बम बम बोल रहा है।
सर्वे के दिन हमने यह कहा था कि बाबा मिल गए। आज का विजय का उत्सव जो है यह काशी विश्वनाथ के शिलान्यास का बीजारोपण का यह प्रथम दिन होगा।
The landmark order paves the way for hearing on the plea to worship Mata Shringar Gauri, a key demand of Hindus. It also opens up hearing on the findings of the survey, which unearthed an alleged shivling, Trishul marks and other Hindu relics inside the mosque.
बड़ी जीत है, इतनी बड़ी जीत है कि आज बाबा भोलेनाथ की कृपा से सब कुछ जो हमने कहा था सब मान लिया गया और मैं समझता हूँ बाबा भोलेनाथ का भव्य मंदिर बनने का मार्ग प्रशस्त हो गया है।
कोर्ट ने हमारे सारे आर्गुमेंट्स को मान लिया है, मुस्लिम पक्ष की एप्लीकेशन रिजेक्ट कर दी है, प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट की उनकी जो प्ली थी उसको खारिज कर दिया है, वक्फ एक्ट की प्ली को खारिज कर दिया है।
The court found no merit in the Muslim side's plea that the petition for worship is barred by the Shrines Act. The Muslim side is readying for battle in higher courts.
फैसला न्यायोचित नहीं लग रहा।
नहीं, ये फैसला, ये ऑर्डर उनका न्यायोचित नहीं, फैसला नहीं, ऑर्डर।
हाँ, उसी ऑर्डर
उस एप्लीकेशन पर जो भी ऑर्डर किया वो न्यायोचित नहीं है, वो न्याय संगत नहीं है, क्योंकि जज साहब ने अपने विवेक से फैसला लिया, हम उसका मान्य करते हैं।
The BJP welcomed the court order, hailing it a huge victory for Astha of Hindus after centuries. The AIMIM chief declared the verdict will have a destabilizing effect.
विश्वनाथ मंदिर और श्रृंगार गौरी माता के मंदिर मामले की जो सुनवाई चल रही थी, जिसमें न्यायालय ने इस सुनवाई को सुनने योग्य मानना है इसका मैं स्वागत करता हूं।
This will have more problems will be created. A destabilizing effect can happen in India. The whole purpose of 91 Act is failing then.
The legal battle for the complex will now focus on the right to worship at Gyanvapi based on merit of arguments. But the first round has gone to the Hindu side. With Anisha Mathur and Samarth Srivastav in Varanasi, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Hindu side is celebrating, calling it a landmark order. The Muslim side says the order defeats the 1991 Places of Worship Act and will lead to tension and friction in society. Will the Hindus stop at Kashi Vishwanath or at Mathura after Ayodhya, or will the Hindus now want to reclaim, as some argue, more than 3,000 temples across the country destroyed by invaders and tyrants? We debate. But first, I want to quickly cut across to senior BJP leader Uma Bharti joining me on the broadcast. Remember, Uma Bharti had sought amendments to the Places of Worship Act in Parliament in 1991. She wanted Mathura and Kashi to be introduced, but she didn't succeed. She joins me on the show. Uma ji, आज के फैसले से क्या देश भर में इस तरह की मांग उठेगी कि अब अयोध्या के बाद काशी, काशी के बाद मथुरा, या अब ये पूरे देश में ये फैलेगी इस तरह की हिंदुओं के मंदिर को फिर से लेने की? क्योंकि असदुद्दीन ओवैसी का तो कहना है कि इससे समाज में तनाव बढ़ेगा।
इसके लिए असदुद्दीन ओवैसी जैसे लोग ही जिम्मेवार। 1991 में जब ये विधेयक आया था, पूजा स्थली धर्मस्थली विधेयक, उस समय पे इन्होंने अयोध्या को ये कह करके कि कोर्ट में है, न्यायालय में है, इसलिए इसको बाहर करके मथुरा और काशी को भी उसी चपेट में ले लिया। उस समय पे माननीय अडवाणी जी हमारे सदन के नेता थे, उनके कहने पर मैंने सदन में इस बहस की शुरुआत की अपनी पार्टी की तरफ से। मैं तभी कहा था कि मथुरा और काशी को भी इसमें ले लीजिए और साथ में ये तय कर दीजिए कि अयोध्या, मथुरा और काशी का समाधान निकाला जाएगा। और मैंने पूरे देशवासियों को निवेदन किया था, पार्लियामेंट के माध्यम से सभी सांसदों के हाथ जुड़े थे कि देखिए आक्रांताओं की यादें हैं, ये मुसलमानों के महत्वपूर्ण मस्जिदें नहीं है, ये बनाए गए हमलावरों के द्वारा बनाई गई इमारतें हैं, जबकि हिंदुओं के आस्था के स्थान है। काशी ज्योतिर्लिंग का स्थान है, कृष्ण का स्थान है, अयोध्या श्री राम का स्थान है। इनकी तुलना नहीं हो सकती किसी भी अन्य इनके स्थान के साथ में, क्योंकि मक्का मदीना इनका बाहर है। इसलिए इसको आप ले लीजिए एक साथ में, नहीं तो ये बाद में फिर से ये मामले सिर उठाएंगे और तब तक बहुत बात बिगड़ चुकी होगी। तो हमारे इस संशोधन को स्वीकार नहीं किया गया, तो अडवाणी जी ने बायकॉट करने का फैसला किया और हमने इस विधेयक में मतदान में भागीदारी नहीं की।
ठीक। तो हिंदुओं को तो अयोध्या में प्रार्थना के लिए न्यायालय जाना पड़ा, लेकिन क्या ये लड़ाई अब काशी और मथुरा तक सीमित रहेगी, या आपकी दृष्टि में अब देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में जिस तरह से ऐसी बात उठ रही है, अब वो देश भर में उठेगी ये बात आज के आदेश के बाद?
इस्लाम का एक इतिहास है कि वो सबसे पहले धार्मिक स्थानों पर हमला हुआ, तो वो तो पूरी दुनिया में ही विनाश हुआ है, भारत में भी हुआ है। 3000 क्या हो सकता है, 30,000 हो, लेकिन जो महत्वपूर्ण आस्था के कुछ स्थान हैं और उन स्थानों पर बनाई गई जो इबादत गाहें हैं, वो इस्लाम धर्म के मुताबिक ही वहां पर पढ़ी गई नमाज ना जाए, तो कम से कम उन स्थानों के बारे में विचार हो सकता है। आप देखिए 91 वाली स्थिति तो अब नहीं रह गई है, क्योंकि अभी जो घटनाएं हुई है ये सर धर्म से जुड़ा वाली जी। और इसके पहले जिस तरह से बयान आए कुछ फिल्म कलाकारों के, कुछ वामपंथी विचारधारा वालों के, कि हमें इस देश में डर लगता है, लेकिन जैसे ही सर धर्म से जुड़ा होने के बाद कईयों पे सर काट दिए गए, शायद इनको डर लगना बंद हो गया, कुछ खुश हो गए। उसके बाद अब देश का माहौल दूसरे प्रकार का हो चुका है और ये लोग अपने इस आपराधिक मौन से, क्रिमिनल साइलेंस, उस समय पर चुप रहना, उन्होंने पाप किया, अपराध किया है और कट्टरपंथियों के हौसले बढ़ाए हैं, और जिसका परिणाम अब आगे जो होगा उसके लिए यही लोग जिम्मेदार होंगे। इसलिए मैं आज वो बात नहीं कह सकती हूँ जो मैंने 1991 में कही।
ठीक, तो मतलब 1991 में अगर आपने कहा था कि केवल अयोध्या, मथुरा और काशी अगर सभी देश मान जाता है तो और मंदिरों को छोड़ देंगे, अब ऐसी बात नहीं कही जा सकती, आप कह रही हैं। 1991 में जो कानून आया उसमें यह कहा गया कि 1947 में जो स्थिति थी 15 अगस्त को, वो यथास्थिति बनी रहे। क्या आज के आदेश से वो स्थिति बदल जाएगी? और क्या, जैसे भोजशाला का ही जिक्र करें, तो भोजशाला से लेकर देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में क्या मांग उठेगी कि अब मंदिर वापस चाहिए?
दुनिया में मात्र हमारा ही देश है जिसका सामूहिक धर्मांतरण नहीं हुआ, नहीं तो देशों के देश के ही धर्म ही बदल गए, इस्लामीकरण हो गया, जैसे ईरान का हो गया, इराक का हो गया। अब ईरान तो पहले आर्यों का देश था, अग्नि पूजा का देश था, आज वो सब कुछ नष्ट हो गया। इसलिए मैं तो अपने एक हिंदू की आस्था के नाते बोल रही हूँ कि मुझे अयोध्या, मथुरा और काशी पर प्रणाम करने का, पूजा करने का, उनके मूल स्थान पर पूजा करने का अधिकार चाहिए। वो मेरी इच्छा है, मैं अपने जीवन काल में उसको देखना चाहिए।
ठीक, तो आपको अयोध्या, मथुरा और काशी में प्रार्थना करने का आपको हक चाहिए, लेकिन क्या हिंदुओं में और मुसलमानों के बीच तनाव और नहीं बढ़ेगा अगर इस तरह की मांग देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में उठने लगे? अगर हिंदू ये कहने लगे कि ये हमारा मंदिर था, यहां पर किसी आतताई ने, आक्रांता ने मस्जिद बना दी, अब हमें अपना मंदिर फिर चाहिए।
विवाद ना बढ़े इसकी जिम्मेवारी कभी एक पक्ष की नहीं होगी। ताली कभी एक हाथ से नहीं बजेगी। हिंदुओं को गिनी पिग नहीं बनाया जा सकता है। कि सारे उदारता के प्रयोग जो है वो हिंदू समाज के ऊपर होते हैं। आप तो उदारता दिखाइए, आप तो बेशर्मी दिखाइए, आप तो काशी जाइए और सिर झुका के चले आइए, गुलामी की यादगार वहाँ बनी हुई है। आप मथुरा जाइए और शर्म से सिर नीचे झुका लीजिए, धिक्कारिए अपने आप को। ये स्थिति अयोध्या में भी बनी हुई थी। तो ये तो नहीं हो सकता है ना। हम सिर्फ हिंदुओं को ही मतलब एक्सपेरिमेंटल पिग नहीं बना सकते ना। हम उनको लैब में ले जाके काटों में चीर फाड़ के देखें, ये नहीं हो सकता ना। उदारता की जो ताली है ना वो दोनों हाथ से बजेगी। तो मुस्लिम समुदाय को भी आगे आना पड़ेगा ऐसे मामलों में। जब संविदा की बात हुई तो कितने लोगों ने निंदा की। जब नूपुर शर्मा की तस्वीर को बूथों से रौंदा गया तो मैंने खुद कहा कि देखो नूपुर पे FIR है, सही है, नूपुर को पार्टी ने निकाला, सही है, लेकिन ये तो गलत है ना। दोनों तहजीब पे गलत है, हिंदू और मुस्लिम। कोई ओबीसी भाई खुद नहीं बोले, तो ये लोग तो जिम्मेवार हैं आज के माहौल के लिए, हम तो जिम्मेवार हैं ही नहीं।
ठीक, तो आप कह रही हैं कि ताली एक हाथ से नहीं बजती। तो भारत में जो अल्पसंख्यक हैं या मुसलमानों की अगर बात की जाए तो भारत के मुसलमानों से आपकी क्या अपेक्षा है?
मेरी भारत के मुसलमानों से अपेक्षा है कि उमा भारती हिंदू है और वो ये मानती है कि हज़रत मोहम्मद साहब मुसलमानों के पैगंबर हैं। कुरान उनका धार्मिक ग्रंथ है, मक्का मदीना उनका धार्मिक स्थान है, इस्लाम उनका पंथ है। तो मैं चाहती हूँ कि वो भी माने कि राम, कृष्ण और शिव हमारे पूज्य हैं। अयोध्या, मथुरा, काशी हमारे पूजनीय स्थान है। जो अपेक्षा वो मुझसे कर रहे हैं वही अपेक्षा मैं उनसे करता हूँ।
Uma Bharti ji for joining me here on this India Today special. Many thanks. Uma Bharti insists that it takes two to tango. For Hindus, Ayodhya, Mathura and Kashi are the most sacred pilgrim spots. Why should there be any evidence of what invaders or tyrants may have done in our country? Let's widen the scope of this discussion. Joining me on the show, Vishnu and Hari Shankar Jain. They're advocates for the petitioner. They join me on the show. Varis Pathan is AIMIM leader and spokesperson. Deepa Ishwar is a Hindu rights activist. Atikur Rahman is a Muslim scholar. Sri Raj Nair represents the Vishwa Hindu Parishad on the broadcast. Varis Pathan, I want to begin by asking you. Mosques at Ayodhya, Mathura and Kashi. You heard Uma Bharti. They symbolize actions of invaders and tyrants. Babur was not an Indian. Babur was an invader who came from Uzbekistan. Aurangzeb was a tyrant and a bigot who demolished temples and built mosques. He imposed jizya on Hindus. He ordered temples be desecrated and destroyed. Sir, should Indian Muslims today defend the actions of invaders and tyrants and seek those mosques remain? Give me a moment as I try and reestablish that link with Varis Pathan in just a moment, but let me also bring into this conversation senior advocate Hari Shankar Jain. Asaduddin Owaisi says this order must be challenged in High Court as this order will lead to more trouble in society. He fears similar petitions will come up across the country, sir.
I admire Owaisi ji personally, but Owaisi ji, whatever says, actually totally against the Constitution. I do not think that anybody can be restrained from approaching the court. We have filed the case before the court.
Okay.
While not Pandora box, it is the who tell of 800 years of Muslim atrocities, how Hindu can, for years to come, can continue this cross on their chest and say that you have rightly done, you have rightly demolished our temple. We are raising violence through court. It is not like CA that we have started the road.
Okay, you're saying you're rightly demanding your temples be restored. Varis Pathan, mosques at Ayodhya, Mathura and Kashi, you heard Uma Bharti. They symbolize actions of invaders and tyrants. Babur wasn't an Indian. He was an invader who came from outside. Aurangzeb was a bigot and a tyrant. He imposed jizya tax on Hindus. He ordered demolition of temples, desecration of temples. Sir, should Muslims in India today either defend those actions or seek mosques at places of worship of Hindus which are central to Hindu faith?
Well, Gaurav, the country will run on the basis of the constitution and the rule of law and not on the basis of Astha. So today, the court has given a verdict and I feel that it is against the basic principles which were laid down in the Places of Worship Act 1991. Gaurav, we have to see the intent of the Places of Worship Act 1991. The intent was clear that henceforth there should not be any litigation. There should not be any disturbance, destabilization in the country. So during the Babri Masjid case verdict in the civil suit, the honorable judges were of the opinion that this act will come into play and those monuments prior to 15 August 1947, you cannot change the nature and character of that place. The intent was clear. This was also taken into consideration, the Gyanvapi issue was also taken into consideration while deciding the Places of Worship Act because the same Uma Bharti, who was a member of parliament then, has raised the issue. So after consideration of everything, taking into consideration everything, the Places of Worship Act was there. And the act is still in existence. It is just been challenged. Pending that, today this court have given this order. It was a suit under Order 7, Rule 11. Now it's kept for further hearing on September 22nd, I suppose. So I am sure that the Intezamia Committee of this Anjuman, they will definitely file an appeal against the order and I am hopeful that the Honorable High Court will look into the intricacies of the entire thing and give a stay on this. This has not barred the Muslims from going there and pray. True. They can go there, they can pray, they can do the wazu also there as per the direction of the Supreme Court. Nor they have granted the permission to our 5 Hindu sisters who demanded that they be allowed to worship there every day. That is also pending. So let us hope, let us wait. Let the courts decide, taking into consideration both the sides. But I am sure, and the 1936 judgment is also there.
Okay.
In the case of our state versus Dinan, and I am forgetting the name of that person.
Deen Muhammad, sir.
In that case also, yes, it is clearly said. Deen Muhammad versus the state. It is clearly stated that the masjid house at the backside of the zameen, the place and everything, it's
and
a
the land underneath.
So how can you obtain that
okay.
place? The question is simple. The Babri Masjid case, the issues were settled. So why do you come forward? Again, you want to create an atmosphere of the 80s and 90s, that era what we saw.
Okay, Deepa Ishwar, is there an effort to create...
The same thing happened during the Babri Masjid issue.
Is there an effort to create the atmosphere once again? Muslims say they have offered namaz at Gyanvapi for hundreds of years. Why has this issue been raked up once Ayodhya was settled, Deepa?
No, I think this is a very sensitive issue and we should not be blaming, both either communities. I think, we need to be coexisting. If you look at it from that point of view, it's such a beautiful place because you've got a mosque and you've got, if you can coexist together, then nothing like it. Now, what happened here is that it's very clear out there that there is a shivling. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go digging out for shivling or any, symbols of Hindu existence under every mosque. But if you found one, then why not harmoniously accept it? What is the problem in accepting the sentiments of the Hindu community is what I don't understand. Be it the Sabrimala, be it Gyanvapi, be it Kashi Madurai, whatever temple, whenever there is an issue about a temple being raised, it's always raising hands out, pointing fingers at the Hindus saying that we are being intolerant. But who is actually being intolerant here? Basically, it's very clear the court has observed, and the court has clearly said why the Place of Worship Act does not, bar this particular petition. Then why is this whole hue and cry about? Let's wait for the court to come up with
Atikur Rahman, this is not barred by Places of Worship Act. This plea is maintainable. Hindus say it's one step forward in getting their right to pray.
Absolutely.
Why should Muslims object? It was, after all, according to the Hindus, a mosque made by demolishing an ancient Hindu temple, and that too a Swayambhu Jyotirling, one of the holiest Hindu sites, or the desecration was and demolition was ordered by Aurangzeb. Why should that symbol of Aurangzeb's tyranny remain even today, sir?
Gaurav, the bigotry which was committed by Aurangzeb gets repeated in this age when we are guided by the Constitution of India. That's problematic. The temple of democracy which created the 1991 Places of Worship Act is being, sidelined with the bigotry temple, people erecting it in the name of religion. That's problematic. Why don't the government of India come clean and act upon a 2 years, pending this thing on the parliament to repeal or amend the 1991 Places of Worship?
So you are
Why
saying Aurangzeb ordering the demolition? No, I want to understand from you, sir. You are saying Atikur Rahman, a respected Islamic scholar, says Aurangzeb ordering the demolition of a temple is the same as Hindus approaching court with a prayer that please give us the right to worship. It is the same. It's equal bigotry. Is this what you're saying?
Yeah, because Aurangzeb was not guided by the constitution at that particular moment. It was the king and the emperor which ruled. There was no book like a constitution. It's very disturbing that in the age of constitution, wherein we really treasure the parliament to be our temple, why are we going towards the bigoted elements?
मतलब कोर्ट जाना बिगटरी हो गया, सीए के खिलाफ एजिटेशन करना बिगटरी नहीं है, उसमें कुछ नहीं है, उसमें कुछ देयर यू डोंट रिस्पेक्ट टेंपल ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी एंड देयर यू डोंट रिस्पेक्ट एक्ट ऑफ पार्लियामेंट. Respecting an act of parliament is also selective. But let me bring in Sriraj Nair. Sriraj Nair, will Hindus stop at Kashi or Mathura, or will this fight continue to regain control of other temples demolished by invaders and tyrants? Mr. Nair.
See, first of all, my salutations to the senior Jain Saab and his son. Both of them have been rigorously fighting for the cause of liberating the Hindu temples. My salutations to both of them. I'm really happy that I'm sharing the studio the space with both of them. Second thing is we definitely believe this is the first step towards the liberation of our Gyanvapi temple, and we're also happy that the Place of Worship Places of Worship Act does not apply. I was listening to my co-panelist Atikur Rahman. Now, nowhere in this world we have to understand, first of all, we have to understand the Hindu civilization is the indigenous civilization of this land. How did Islam came to this land? We all know. And we all know who the ancestors are of Mr. Atikur Rahman and Mr. Waris Pathan. They are not Arab migrants. First of all, they have to accept the reality and they have to treat the ailment of Stockholm syndrome, which they are ailing from. I repeatedly, Stockholm syndrome, they are ailing from that deadly disease. So they have to get rid of that. How long they will live in denial mode? They cannot buy a single inch in the Arab land. They cannot marry a local Arab girl. They cannot get citizenship. So and they are just, it's a daddy issue. Why are they looking towards the Arab world? Their ancestors were
Varis Pathan wants to respond to you. Atikur Rahman wants to respond to you.
The majority have to plead for their place of worship. Nowhere in this world they have to plead for the place of worship. We are rather, and the Hindus are decent enough that they have approached the courts. And let us respect the courts. They cannot. These people are selectively abiding by the constitution. Selectively, they want to respect the judiciary. That cannot happen.
Okay, respond, Varis Pathan.
So we are very happy
Varis Pathan.
and we are satisfied with the decision.
Okay, Varis Pathan, you know, Hindus are pleading with courts to have access to their religious places. Why should that be seen as bigotry, sir?
No, first and foremost, just now Siraj Nair was also saying that we respect the constitution. I say he's lying. The Supreme Court has said in the Places of Worship Act 1991 and during the Babri Masjid verdict, they have said it has become a basic structure of our constitution. So where do they take care of the constitution? This is what I say. Now when will this stop? If we don't follow these places of worship, if we don't follow the Supreme Court's rule, every day new petitions will be filed in different courts of law and people will seek that, okay, I want to worship in this place, allow me to worship. Then when will this end? Is this not destabilizing the great country? Is this not spreading hatred amongst people in the country when everything stops? Babri Masjid issue happened, Gaurav, a very clear thing and a true fact. Had the Babri Masjid been there on the very day when the judgment of the Supreme Court came, it would not have been demolished. The result would have been different today. But because they demolished our Babri Masjid and the Honorable Court had to pass this order,
sir,
then also they said that no.
The fact also remains.
Any structure, you cannot change the nature and character.
Well,
you are talking about faith.
You know, Hindus say
I am talking about constitution which is given to us by Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. And we follow the constitution, rule of law must prevail. Otherwise it will be anarchy, banana republic. Where do we live then?
No,
then
but Varis Pathan...
What was the need of such kind of act?
But Varis Pathan, explain this to me. Varis Pathan, explain this to me. You want to respect, sir, you want to respect the Places of Worship Act 1991, but you do not want to respect the Citizenship Amendment Act. Both came from the same parliament. So your respecting also cannot be selective. Point one, your worship, your respecting.
I'm not being selective.
You're being very selective, sir. When it's convenient to you, you will respect Supreme Court order or an act of Parliament. When it is not,
yes, according to the convenience, if it comes their way, they'll respect.
In Sabarimala's case, did they see the Babri Masjid order came? We respected. Triple Talaq order came, we respected. During the Babri Masjid, we say our faith says, एक बार जहाँ मस्जिद थी है वो तो क़यामत तक रहेगी. This is our faith. I am not going against the Constitution or the Honorable Supreme Court. That also we said the Supreme Court is supreme, but not infallible. Which Justice Verma of the Honorable Supreme Court himself said. Varis Pathan is not saying that. I am just quoting him. So where do we leave it?
So I want to move forward from that point. I want to move forward from that point.
Where will the country go?
No, where will the country go? The point that Uma Bharti raises, and I want to ask both you and Atikur Rahman, why should only Hindus make all the sacrifices in this country? This is a Hindu majority country, and yet for secularism only Hindus will make sacrifice. That's the point Uma Bharti made. Atikur Rahman.
This is you're wrong. You're wrong.
Okay. So first Varis Pathan wants to respond, and then Atikur Rahman.
I don't agree with your point, Gaurav.
Go on, sir. Okay, Varis Pathan first, then Atikur Rahman. Go on, sir.
I don't agree with your point that this is a majority and minority. Fundamental right, equality is mentioned there in the constitution given to us by Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. I am as equal as Gaurav Sawant, or I am as equal as the other panelists who are sitting here on your channel. Now, one more thing I wanted to clarify. The activist madam who was sitting on your panel, he says, declare it as a shivling. Madam, that matter issue is pending before the Supreme Court. Whether it is a shivling or it is a fountain as claimed by the Muslim side, that issue has to be resolved by the Honorable Supreme Court. It is pending. The Supreme Court has protected that area of the shivling, but it allowed the Muslims to go there, offer prayers, and they've also allowed the Muslims to go there and do wuzu.
In a separate location, sir. Wuzu in a separate location. Cannot do wuzu where Hindus say, sir, for facts, so that you are on facts, wuzu will not be done where our shivling is. Let's be very clear about that. Let's be very clear about that, sir.
That place is protected.
Yes, that place remains protected. But that is where wuzu was happening for so many years.
Apart from offering namaz there,
yes, you are absolutely right. I want to bring in.
Clear as today they are claiming offering sweets and everything that now they have been allowed to worship there every day. This is wrong.
I want to bring in Vishnu Shankar Jain.
By a few people. I don't blame you. There are certain people who are offering sweets and they are showing it on the social media itself also.
I want to bring in Vishnu Shankar Jain. Respond on merit.
Are you with me?
I'm with you. Varis Pathan, yeah, you're loud and clear. Strength 5. Strength 5, always audible. Always audible. Okay, Vishnu Shankar Jain, respond on merit when Asaduddin Owaisi argues that plot number 93 and plot number 94, they were exchanged as part of beautification of Kashi Vishwanath temple complex. The exchange was with the Muslim party. The exchange, according to Asaduddin Owaisi, is always with the owner. And that, according to Asaduddin Owaisi, is proof that government took them as owners of the land when they exchanged plot number 93 and 94, sir.
See, we have categorically said that if any exchange which has been done, that is not binding on us. And that is not binding on the deity and the worshippers. If the state government has done any exchange, that is the need of the hour. At that point of time, state government has done the exchange. But by exchanging the property, it does not mean the state government or the devotees has accepted the title of the Waqf board. Point number one. This point also we have argued before the Honorable Court that the said exchange is in violation of the Waqf Act also. So all these are the broader aspects which has to be seen. But the point in issue is this, that this plot number 9130 is not a Waqf property, and there has been no document which has been filed by the masjid side to show that it has been a Waqf property. And apart from that, the provisions of Waqf Act are not attracted. There is a categorical finding of the Honorable Court in this regard in today's judgment. So we were continuously saying that if a dispute arises between members of Muslim community and Hindu community, the provisions of Waqf Act are not attractive.
Okay. So courts are looking at what's happening in Kashi, courts are looking at what's happening in Mathura, but Atikur Rahman, can an amicable solution still be found? You heard that conversation with senior BJP leader Uma Bharti, who says this if there is an amicable solution, then you can look at what's happening at Mathura, at Kashi, at Ayodhya. This Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb cannot be a one-way street. Muslims cannot
Gaurav,
expect only Hindus to make all the sacrifices. If Muslims are contesting Mathura and Kashi, then be prepared, as Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain and Hari Shankar Jain argue, more than 3,000 temples that were illegally demolished. Hindus will fight to reclaim all, sir.
Gaurav, nothing is impossible and more acceptable than a congenial atmosphere built between two major communities in India. But who is responsible to create this divide? The divide is every day on our channels. The BJP spokesperson, when they call the Muslims jihadis, when the madrasas are pulled down without any relevant proof, saying that they are, having terrorism taught in them.
Sir,
when
we had a debate on that, but today can we stay on the subject?
A scapegoat out of all other things.
Today can we stay on this subject? I will. You and I have discussed the pulling down of madrasas in Assam in the past. You and I have discussed that. But let's stay on this subject, sir.
So who will build the congenial atmosphere? Who will build the bridges? There are no efforts either by the government of India or any of the organizations who claim day in and day out. They have only blame. They have only poison for the minority community. Is this the way you expect that the minority and the majority communities will come on one platform? That's not possible, Gaurav.
Okay.
We need to end
Sriraj Nair, how, in your view, what's the way to end the hate?
See, as I also said, and even Umaji rightly said, Hindus are not guinea pigs. All Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb, what happened to the Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb in 1947? Every time Hindus cannot be at the receiving end. We have to understand, Hindus survived the onslaught of nearly 1,000 years,
so
and that was brutal, barbaric onslaught. When your ancestors converted, we survived. Understand? So now you cannot selectively abide by the constitution. You cannot be. You selectively abide by the judiciary. You cannot selectively abide by the IPC, CRPC. Today, a good news has come. We welcome this news, and now the case will be fought on merits. So let us wait. Let us wait for now. The case will be fought on merits. Please do understand. And we are not guinea pigs. We survived, and we are here to stay.
Okay,
please understand. And if there has to be peace, you have to understand who your ancestors were. You cannot make your, you cannot feel that your ancestors were some from Ottoman Empire or the Arabs. Who were your ancestors? Please understand. The day you realize who were your ancestors, most of the problem in this country will be solved. There is no majority, no minority. Either they are Hindu staying or whose ancestors were Hindus, they are staying. That's it. So you have to realize and understand.
No, but you know, instead of yeah, exactly. How do you move forward?
Throw off your baggage of history, Mr. Nair. Throw off your baggage of history.
But how do you move forward?
So
you know, a strong foundation. You need a strong foundation.
Why
Deepa Ishwar also wants to come in. Okay, before I bring in Varis Pathan, Deepa Ishwar wants to come in. Come in, ma'am. Okay.
So Atikur Rahman ji was asking who should build the bridge. Definitely, of course, the government and other authorities should. But then at the same time, Atikur Rahman ji sitting on the other side of this debate, debating this with me, is definitely not any baby step towards building a harmonious bridge. It should be, we should together be accepting. I mean, both of us debating this on two sides itself is not, are we taking any effort towards it? Are you taking any effort towards building a bridge? I think that's a question to ourselves. Why are we always waiting for someone to come and build the bridge for us? It's as if like we're all here and someone should come and do it. I agree. There are responsibilities should be fulfilled. But are we doing this? Are we setting the right example for the next generation? Shouldn't I be able to tell my son that, see, we found history there and we're all coexisting together and accepting what's about to happen? Am I able to say that? No. I'm ashamed to tell my son about what's happening. There is a community who's arguing and debating with history being unfolded.
Okay. And why do some, Varis Pathan, you know, Varis Pathan, why would some, as Uma Bharti asks and as several Hindus ask, Ayodhya, very central to Hindu faith. Sri Ram was born there. Mathura, Yogeshwar Sri Krishna was born there. Kashi, this is where the Jyotirling, the Swayambhu Jyotirling came. So centers of Hindu faith, it is not central to Islamic faith. Why are Muslims contesting Ayodhya, Mathura and Kashi, which is so central to Hindu faith?
Well, that is why, well, Gaurav, that's why I started my argument by saying that I made my point by saying that the country will run on the constitution and follow the rule of law and not on the basis of Astha. They are talking about Astha. What about my Astha then? What about my faith?
What is your Astha in Ayodhya, Mathura and Kashi?
I am an equal citizen
tyrant demolished temples and built mosques. Your Astha is on demolished temples.
We have been praying there since years. Muslims have been offering prayers. Muslims have been offering prayers there since years. They have been doing performing wuzu there in the house since years. Why all of a sudden they come there? Why all of a sudden an order is passed by the magistrate?
So Muslims performing wuzu where Hindus say a shivling is
why was the order for survey was allowed when the Places of Worship Act is in existence? Why this thing, when the Places of Worship Act is in existence, what was the need for these people to approach the court and seek an order for the survey? Why? What was the requirement when already our 5 Hindu sisters had moved an appeal before the Honorable Supreme Court asking them they be permitted to worship there? What was the need today going before the court and taking the same?
Let me bring in Mr. Harishankar Jain.
The time of the courts, and tomorrow again, everybody will go before the courts and they will ask for such kind of prayers. Where will this stop this? Where will this stop? That's why the Places of Worship
Why should it be stopped? That's my question. Why are you trying to stop it? Why are you trying to stop it?
Gaurav, please give me 30 seconds. Please give me 30 seconds.
Stop. What are you trying to make a point? Go before the Supreme Court and make this point. You will get the answer, madam. Why should this not be stopped? And why should this be stopped? That with the intention of
why are you fearing?
I am a lawyer, I am not a layman, and I am making a point as per law.
Sir, I'm asking you, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of history being revealed? Why are you afraid of Hindus?
I am not afraid of anything. What are you afraid of?
You're asking for our rights as much as you are entitled to yours.
Why should I be afraid of? Why should I? No, I am not afraid of anything. I am only afraid of one thing, that the constitution given to me by Baba Saheb Ambedkar, they all must follow, which they are not following. That is what I am afraid of. That is what I am afraid of. I am talking about constitution, madam. You are not talking about constitution. You are just speaking as a layman. Allow us. No. The courts are supreme. Let me make a clear-cut point, madam. The order today passed by the court in Varanasi, I am hopeful that definitely the High Court will stay that. The High Court will definitely, because the matter is subject.
Bring in Mr. Hari Shankar Jain, because if there is confrontation, if there is confrontation,
the Varanasi Court.
no, if there is confrontation, then why should it remain restricted only to Mathura and Kashi, and why not over 3,000 temples that Vishnu Shankar Jain and Hari Shankar Jain and other Hindus talk about? Mr. Jain, is this then the return to politics of 1980s and 90s, and will this then lead to a spike in Hindu-Muslim tension in different parts of the country, with temple politics once again taking center stage, sir?
Yes, that should be defeated. That should be defeated.
It should be
repeated. We have challenged the constitutional validity of the act. Number one. Number two, when for 800 years, 500 years or 400 years, illegally you entered in my house, you demolish my temple. Why we should not talk in free India, in an India governed by the constitution, that restore back through legal means, not by showing hoodlums, not by otherwise by showing unlawful activity, not like CA Andolan. We are saying through court that is our property, we were worshipping, it is God's property, and we should get it back. What is wrong with it? And 1890 era will come. Why Owaisi is threatening? Why threatening? One, he must know that you cannot threaten now. Hindu public has awakened. It may, yes, there will be flood of litigation, and we will succeed in more than 3,000 temples. We have to get it back. We have to get it back. And you can't shut our mouth. If you shut your mouth, there will be, Parliament will be compelled to change the law. Parliament will compelled to change the law. Democracy means what the people...
So you're saying you'll use democracy, you'll use the power of the people to change laws. Atikur Rahman, if that happens, Places of Worship Act 1991, Uma Bharti was telling me that law, it is bad in law, it is anti-Hindu. It is anti-Hindu. Why should an anti-Hindu law remain in our statute books even today? The point Hindus make is, tyrants demolished our temple. If the Mughals did it, they did not give Hindus justice. Aurangzeb was a tyrant. The British did not give Hindus justice. Why should Hindus not get justice in free independent India and reclaim their places of worship? Atikur Rahman.
That is precisely my question, Gaurav. When Uma Bharti claimed the same thing on the floor of the parliament, where were these, honorable people like Mr. Jains and the other Sriraj Nair? Where were they? Why didn't they at that particular moment supported her?
Why didn't they compel the parliament
to pass, not allow passing this act? Why slow poison India in this ugly, obnoxious fashion? This is bigotry, nothing else.
You call it bigotry. Sriraj Nair wants to respond to you. What you're indulging in right now, Sriraj Nair, according to Atikur Rahman, is bigotry.
So that is the reason they don't want to accept the truth. Now today a decision by the court has come. Rather than welcoming and respecting the judiciary, if the decision does not come their way, they will attack the judiciary also. And this is the way they respect the constitution. Now let me talk about Kashi. I belong to the state of Kerala. Before the industrial revolution, before there were no motor cars or mode of transport, people from Kerala used to walk to Kashi. That is the importance of Kashi for every Hindu, irrespective of where a Hindu stays as far as the geographical location is concerned. So now for Atikur Rahman, Makkah and Medina could be revered, but what has it got to do with the Gyanvapi temple? So, Hindu, they don't want to accept the reality, they don't want to accept what judiciary says, and the Places of Worship Act has already been challenged in the Supreme Court. Let us understand that. Anything that can be, and the soon hearings are going to be happening. So Places of Worship Act has been challenged.
Okay,
I want to bring in... My question is different.
I want to bring in Vishnu Shankar Jain on a very important point that you raised. Okay, quickly Atikur Rahman, kindly make your point, sir.
Mr. Jain, why didn't you came in support of Uma Bharti at that time? Why these people were silent at that time? You know, the Ayodhya matter could have clubbed with all these matters.
But that is exactly what Uma Bharti wanted. But her amendment could not come that time.
We are not guinea pigs, sir.
No, but how are you being made a guinea pig? But let me bring in, Mr. Vishnu Shankar Jain wants to make a point. And Mr. Jain, does today's order, Vishnu Shankar Jain, does today's order pave the way for similar petitions coming up for other religious places? It may be a mosque today, but if it was a temple before 1947, for example, Bhodshala. Bhodshala is one such instance, and I believe there are 6 or 7 such instances where you are either petitioner in that case or you're working on this case. Sir, the point is, does that not defeat the purpose of the Places of Worship Act?
See, today's judgment has paved the way for the misnomer which has been spread in the society of Places of Worship Act 1991 as well as Waqf Act 1995. So far as restoration of temple is concerned, if our legal teams finds any proof that yes, there was a temple pre-existing which has been demolished and converted into a mosque before 15th August 1947 and after 15th August 1947, cases will be filed in the courts of law for such restoration and for taking back those places.
On this part of the show, I will let that be the last word for joining me here on this India Today special broadcast. Many thanks. We will track the story very, very closely. This now comes up on the 22nd of September in the Kashi court, and we'll be present in court to get you more on the story. Up next, we get you an India Today exclusive on the Maryada Purushottam Sri Ram temple at Ayodhya. Ram Lala will be installed. The Pran Pratishtha will take place at the Sanctum Sanctorum on Makar Sankranti in 2024. Details coming up.
Hey, I noticed something new. You started using a new body lotion. Funny.
I'm so sorry for the delay. I was on another call. It just kept going on.
No, Papa. You have been a steam bath. Steam bath? At home? Two steam bath he takes.
Go to your homework.
It's 7:20 already. The kickoff's in 5 minutes. Get all the boys. We have the entire place to ourselves, man. Not working?
Of course it is. But I don't want you guys to be using this bathroom. So use the other one. Hey, I noticed something new. You started using a new body lotion. Funny.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Welcome back. Let's now get you another India Today exclusive. As the Sri Ram temple rises at Ayodhya, India Today has learnt that the idol of Ram Lala, infant Sri Ram, will be installed at the Sanctum Sanctorum of the temple on Makar Sankranti 2024. This means in January 2024, months before the general elections, Ram Lalla will be placed, the Pran Pratishtha will take place in the Sanctum Sanctorum. We get you more details from Ground Zero.
The Ram Mandir in Ayodhya is rising at a relentless pace. The iconic structure slowly becoming a reality. And now, millions of devotees across the world have a concrete finish line to look forward to. The Ayodhya Ram Mandir will be completed by December 2023. But that's not all. Ram Lalla, the sacred idol, will be placed in the Sanctum Sanctorum of the Mandir in January 2024 on Makar Sankranti. Since construction began in Ayodhya on August the 5th, 2020, 40% has been completed over the last 2 years. Alongside pace of construction, the scope and scale of work at the Mandir site has also increased dramatically. For instance, it's been decided that the temple complex will house 7 smaller temples as well, in addition to the main Ram Mandir. The Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust, which cleared the new plans at a marathon meeting on Sunday, has ramped up the budget from 400 crore rupees to 1800 crore rupees.
शायद मंदिर के काम पर अन्य बातें नहीं, और इसमें भी हो सकता है दोबारा कुछ संशोधन हो जाए कि मंदिर पर 1800 करोड़ रुपया खर्च आ सकता है.
The 7 new temples will be for 7 revered Hindu figures: Valmiki, Vashisht, Vishwamitra, Agastya, Shabari, Nishad Raj and Jatayu. Construction Committee Chairman Ripendra Mishra, Trust Chairman Mahant Nritya Gopal Das, Treasurer Govind Devgiri were among the 14 trustees that attended the crucial meeting clearing the scaled-up Mandir construction effort. It's now full speed ahead for the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, with the full structure to be ready in just 15 months for now. In the politically supercharged atmosphere pervading India, it will be missed on no one that the Ram Mandir will be ready and the Ram Lalla will be placed inside just months before the 2024 national election. Whether the politics over the timelines detonates remains to be seen, but for Ram devotees across the world, the looming Mandir is finally in sight. With Samad Srivastav and Kumar Abhishek in Lucknow, Bureau Report, India Today.
That's another story we'll be reporting from Ground Zero, but that is all I have for you on the Newstrack this evening. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.
Bharat Biotech's COVID-19 nasal vaccine has been approved for emergency use for those above 18. This means an intramuscular shot isn't now the only strategy available against COVID. Viruses like COVID enter the body through mucosa tissues that line the nose, mouth, lungs, and the digestive